Ta-da! And back at y'all with another video. And welcome to this edition of Stop the Capping. I'm your host, Ahmad. And we got some things that we need to talk about because here we go again. First, we got another scandal that done hit the airwaves, social media. It's on YouTube, TikTok, whatever. It's on all the platforms. Everybody's talking about it now. Everyone has something to say, including myself. We have Shannon Sharp versus a OnlyFan model. That's what I'm going to title this. Shannon Sharp versus the OnlyFans model. First and foremost, folks, what is the definition of a OnlyFan? What is the purpose of establishing a OnlyFans website, page, or whatever? Let's start with the facts and the figures. What is the purpose of a OnlyFans club? Why would any woman establish or want to establish a OnlyFans club? What is the purpose of any woman establishing a OnlyFans club? Period. Let's start with that issue situation right there. What is the purpose of an OnlyFans club? What is the purpose of establishing a OnlyFans website? What is your purpose? Are you doing it strictly for entertainment? Are you doing it for entertainment and monetization? In other words, are you doing something to be compensated for? Are you doing this to be paid? How does having a OnlyFans club benefit you and society? So why are women doing these OnlyFans club? What is the purpose behind it? Let's start with that scenario right there, first and foremost. Why are women, young girls between the ages of 19 to 35, establishing OnlyFans clubs? Why? What is the purpose behind it? And who are you looking to attract by having these type of clubs? I'm gonna speak on the issue from my own experience. I was on Instagram and I was on another social media platform called Threads, Thread, Threads. Ladies and gentlemen, you won't believe how much pornography was inboxed to me. Girls left, right, and center were sending me links to their particular webpage, and I had no type of knowledge of what these women were. I thought these were just regular women on social media because that's what the platform is. You talk about your issues, you make friends, you can even make a girlfriend, I guess, if you able to connect. But the thing is, I was getting emailed or inbox so much pornography because that's what it was. I had to ask the question: what is the purpose of Instagram? What is the purpose of Threads? Because to me, it looked like a low budget or a platform used for women to solicit men for sexual favors. And I asked that comment often. That seemed like to be the one comment that no one applied to or responded to when I asked that question. Why are all these women soliciting men to go to their website? What makes another woman think I want to pay to sit at home and watch her perform some type of sexual activities on the internet? What make a woman think that that's what I want to do? And I had to ask some of these women, what make you think I want to sit at home and pay you to play with yourself? Why would I want to indulge in that type of activity? What make you think I'm that type of individual to send me this type of email or inbox me with this type of information? Why would you do this? What makes you think I want to sit there and pay you to play with yourself? What gave you the notion that I'm that type of individual that I'm going to sit at home, pay you $19 or whatever it is a month subscription to watch you play with yourself or play with other people? Why would I engage in such activities? First and foremost, why? Why would I need to do something like that? I didn't ask you for it, so why would you send me that type of information? That's first and foremost. So, first of all, the women who engage in this type of activities, they know what they're doing. They know why they're doing it. It starts with money and it ends with money. First and foremost. So, my title today is about Shannon Sharp, a former NFL player and Hall of Fame, an ESPN analyst, a social media podcast holder. He has a channel called Club Shay Shay. He also has a YouTube channel called Uncle Ocho, which talks about various activities involving sports. He's on First Take as a sports analyst, and he was in negotiation to upgrade his platform. He was in a negotiation to sign a significant large sum of money. And my thing is this: why does every person's salary contract needs to be public knowledge? So should everybody's salary just be blatted all over the world? Should I know your salary? Should you know my salary? Why does every professional person's salary need to be exposed? Why do I need to know how much that man is making? How much? Why do I need to know what kind of contract he signed? Why is it important that I know what he's signing? Why does every athlete contract needs to be exposed to the world? Why? You don't expose that man who's making $8 an hour contract. You don't tell the world what he's making. So why does a professional person contract need to be exposed? Maybe we stop exposing people's personal salaries. Maybe young ladies wouldn't be out here trying to attach themselves to these type of individuals. We here in the United States, we do some of the stupidest things, and then we go around and justify it with stupidity. We do some of the stupidest things here in the United States that makes no sense. And then we have incidents like this. Now people got to jump and choose sides. Oh, he knew better than this. He knew better than that. Oh, he too old for this. First of all, the young lady, as far as I'm concerned, is a professional sex worker. Because what is a OnlyFans for? You're paying for some type of activity. That's first and foremost. You're not in a relationship. You're paying for something. It is a mutual agreement. It is a consensual agreement based on monetary funds. It starts there and it ends there. Point blank and period. It is not a relationship. Let's get that first foremost. It is a sexual signed contract between two individuals. It's supposed to be of an adult age because you're supposed to be of a certain age just to be a part of the OnlyFans. So you're supposed to be of legal age to even establish a page in the first place. That's first and foremost. So it doesn't matter the age of your clientele because it is what it is. It is a monetary site that males or women can go to. You pay a subscription to that person who has that site to perform or do a action or conduct. That's what you're paying for. This is not a relationship. You're paying for an activity to be conducted by another person on the other end. So let's not construe it with being a relationship. Second, when did rape victims start taking money from their rapist? Let me say this again. When did rape victims start taking money from their rapist? So I'm gonna be a little bit insensitive right now because it needs to be said because that's the problem here in the United States. We don't want to look at things truthfully. We want to cover up certain things. We want to put out a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but we don't want to open up the whole door. So I'm going to open up the whole door. When does a rape victim seek monetary damages from her rapist? So someone forcefully assaulted you, rape you, but you feel taking his money is going to make your life better. When did women start taking money from their when did rape victims start taking money from their rapists? When did women start taking money from the person who raped them? A forcible rape is a serious, serious violation of a woman's body. Not only is it physical damage, but it's emotionally damage because every time you close your eyes, you're going to remember that situation that happened to you. When you have been hurt, whether it's rape or anything, any type of violence has been done to you, whether you man, woman, child, whatever, any type of unwanted violence done to you, you will always remember it. You might not always think about it, but you will never forget it. You will not forget the moment. You will not forget the incident. It will always be with you. And that's any type of violent incident, be it rape, mugging, stabbing, shooting. You are going to remember that incident, point blank and period. So, being forcefully raped, you're going to remember that incident. It is not going away. It is a scar on your mental capacity because it is always going to be there. So, then why would you take money from your accuser? How is taking money from a rapist going to make your life better when you already have the incident already embedded in your mind? Now you're going to build your life around his money? You're just going to drive off in a nice car and get a fancy house, knowing that the lifestyle you now live in come from the person that allegedly forcefully raped you? Who does that? See, we got women jumping on the woman's side. We got men jumping on the men's side. We got people saying, "Oh, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. You should know better." This is not a regular girl. This woman is a professional by trade. She established an OnlyFans to get monetary funds. She's just not no girl that you just happen to meet. She has a page up. You have to join the page. You have to pay a certain amount of money to join the page. This is not a casual relationship. It starts with money and it ends with money. Point blank and period. So let's not construe this as he just randomly went out here and met her off the street. No, that's not how it happened. At some point in time, this interaction had to start off the internet because women inbox me all the time with this foolishness and nonsense. I just delete it. I let the woman know. I kindly let her know I'm not into this type of activities, and I delete it. I don't engage it. I don't sign up for. I don't even open a page. The minute they see it, send it to my inbox. I kindly let them know I'm not into this type of activity. That is not something I do. I've got daughters myself. What I look like going to bed, even though the woman is attractive, with a girl the same age as my daughter or younger. I don't care if she is out there to get paid. I'm gonna let somebody else handle that ballpark. You're not gonna get me. That's just me. See, I always tell people when you do things in the dark, when you try to hide things in the dark, eventually it's gonna come out in the light. Some things you may go through your whole life without ever exposing it. You may live and die with that incident being hidden forever. And then some things come out. Shannon Shop on his podcast is always talking this and that, trying to make himself look holier than thou, that he was only engaging in straight sex and he only did this and that. Because, Ocho always used to joke about on it. If you go look at the Ocho, Unc and Ocho podcast, you will see the Ocho was always bringing up sucking toes, licking ass, and all this type of shenanigans left, right, and center. And Shannon Shop was like, oh, no, 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 no. But now you got an exposed conversation. Now we're talking about choking and chain and whooping and dog this and this, all this type of activity. This is the type of activity and nonsense that's being talked on social media. It's on there. Women actually on social media talking like this on social media. The websites tries to clean it up by stopping such content, but it's still out there, folks. I've seen it myself. Now she's claiming to be a victim. Okay, let's take it from a victim's point. You didn't go to the police department to file a victim's report. That's the first step. You ran to a lawyer. Now we're talking about incidents that happened 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago. Now just coming to light. I'm not listening to the nonsense that's be going on with these women. Oh, it's an emotional thing. I couldn't tell nobody because ain't nobody gonna do nothing. I don't believe that. Sorry, ladies, I'm not believing it. Women jump up and run their mouth left, right, and center. So I'm not believing that women just letting around let this stuff happen and not trying to do nothing about it. I'm not accepting it. Men's in certain positions that don't want to lose their position because saying this and this and that. I have nothing to lose. I'm on a YouTube channel that I'm not monetized about. I don't have any advertising, so I can speak my mind. I'm not losing anything. One thing I'm losing is you don't like what I said. That's point blank and period. What am I losing? So I can speak freely because I'm not losing anything. I'm not being sponsored or controlled by anyone. So I can give you the real facts. The real fact, we have scandalous women out here in the world. That's point blank and period. And that's the problem with society here in the United States. We got too much shenanigans going on, too much wrong going on. We're trying to make it right. Oh, he's 56 years old. What he doing to a 19-year-old girl? Once again, as far as I'm concerned, she is a paid entity. You must go to her site. You must join it. You must click on it. You must pay some type of monthly subscription. You get to know this individual by engaging with her. You can have one-on-one session with this young lady based on what she's charging for that session. You end up building a rapport. It starts with the internet connection. And then once you're online, once you live face to face, you can do whatever. Hey, let's meet me here. Let's meet me there. Let's set up a date. Then it goes from the internet to live interaction. How that person know where you live at? How you know where that person live at? If there's no live interaction. So if you knew this woman if this woman knew Shannon Sharp for 7 months, you're doing all type of shenanigans and all type of sexual activity left, right, and center. But now you want the world to want us to believe that just this one particular day you said no, but he just took it. The whole 7 months of y'all being together, doing y'all shenanigans left, right, and center. But you want us to be boo boo the fool and just believe this one time you told him no and he just took your stuff. He just took it. I'm taking it. I'm going to choke you out and take it. And you want us to believe that foolishness because you're a woman, because you holler rape. You didn't go to the police after that incident happened. You didn't go to your nearest police department after it happened and reported it. You could have went snobbing, crying, boo-booing, and hollering to the nearest police department right then and there on the day it actually happened. The minute you left his, whether he left you or you left him, the minute you was free, you could have walked into any police department right after that so-called incident and reported it right then and there. Trust and believe me, it would have been effectively dealt with right then and there. You could have walked in any police department right then and there and reported the incident right then and there. Point blank and period. We wouldn't be having this discussion right here, right now. It wouldn't be all over the internet. Trust and believe me. These young girls are not victimized like you women of the old. Okay? These young women are not sitting around here being victimized by men like you women of old. These are weak men now. So women can go in and scream and holler and men go, oh, okay, okay, okay. What's going on? What's happening? What's happening? These are not the same men as before. These men are soft. They pillow puff. So you can go in there and report a rape, and the first thing they're going to do is jump on it. Because nowadays, arresting somebody does what? Arresting people is a business. Arresting people is a business. It's clout. It ain't the same as before. Arresting people is a business. So you could have went to any police department and reported this incident day one. It would have been investigated right then and there. See, I hate these 2 years, 3 years allegations popping up. I hate that. And then all the excuses of why this couldn't happen and that couldn't happen. Bullshit. That's what I'm saying. Here in the United States, we have too much bullshit going on. It's bullshit of the highest order. It's nonsense of the highest order. Oh, this victim this and this victim that. No, you don't know the emotion behind it. I'm not believing it. I'm sorry. These women are not like the women of 20 years ago. If you look how they don't talk like they scared. So I'm not believing the foolishness and nonsense waiting 2 years, 3 years to report an allegation of something. I'm not buying that. If I'm wrong, I'm just wrong. But I'm gonna speak on the foolishness, and I think it is what it is. It's foolishness. If you're paying a person to engage in certain activities, it is a contract. It is a mutual acceptance of activities by two parties. It ain't a relationship. It's based on mutual funds. You do this, I do this. You pay me this, I'll do that for you. This wasn't no relationship. It may have been activities and conducts with benefits behind it. But this woman does the things that she does for monetary funds. That's first and foremost. She conducts activities for monetary funds. That's first and foremost. And people need to stop talking about, oh, he shouldn't have been doing it, he shouldn't have been doing that. She is a paid personality. She has established a website based on sexuality, sexual content for monetary funds. That is first and foremost. You pay women to do certain activities. They're not the girl that you just met at the mall, you met at the church. These women have websites for monetary purposes. And all these soft ass men on websites because they sponsored by somebody else trying to make like she's just a victim or she's just a woman. I don't want no but the first thing come out their mouth, I don't want to offend the victim. Because they're corporate sponsors and they don't want women who may be part of that sponsorship to come after them. No one's sponsoring me. So I can tell it straight up. The woman's full of shit. That's first and foremost. She was engaging in activity for monetary funds. That's the real issue. Now greed sets in. Now you think you're entitled to something because you've been engaging in this type of activity. So you go hire a lawyer. You don't go to the police department, you go hire a lawyer. A lawyer who's known for engaging in such activities like this. So you go hire him. You go call him up. And then Shannon's attorney, who's been with him for over the years. You need to fire your attorney, Shannon. If your attorney gave you advice to just settle out, that is stupidity of the highest order. You need to fire him. You need to fire your attorney. I know you ain't, but you should. Because that is the worst legal advice ever. You knew how you initially met this woman. You knew how you initially met this woman. If irregardless of what we know, don't know, but you and her know how y'all first met. You knew what type of activities you was engaging with this young lady. If you're not guilty, why pay anything? If you're paying for services and conducts and behavior, you pay this, she do this. You pay that, she do this. If that's the activity that you was engaging in, what's the difference between her and a paid prostitute or a paid call girl? So you change the name, but the activity is still the same. So you don't want to call it a call girl. You don't want to call it hooking. You don't want to call it prostitution. So you call it the OnlyFan, but the activities are still the same. Come on, people, make it make sense. See, we do some of the stupidest things here in the United States. This is American activity of stupidity of the highest order. This is the kind of shenanigans that we do with the wording of words. The activity is still the same. You're still hooking and you're still prostituting. See, words evolve, but the activity is still the same. You notice that? Back in the day, what we call it? Prostitution, hooking, call girls. All women who engage in sexual activities for monetary funds. Now, 2025, now we want to call it the OnlyFans. The activity is still the same. The name has changed. Now both parties can do it because now women can do it too. So now you got women on women, you got men on women, you got group sex now. So now everybody can be intertwined into this monetary type of activity being paid for. And you call it the OnlyFans. And then we want to sit around here and act like it's stupidity. He was engaging in activity that started with monetary funds. You just don't jump on this girl face by conversation. You start off by paying to join her club. That's why it's called a club. You pay a certain fee to engage in conversations or whatever with this young lady. It starts with money. That's point blank and period. It starts with money. And then your attorney advises you to give this young lady $10 million and you listen to that foolishness. What were you thinking? Now you want to come out and you want to make a statement. Now you want to say this and this and that. The damage has been done. You've been in the NFL long enough. You should be not, this should not be nothing new to you of this type of activity that women and men have engaged in, especially athletes. This has been going on since sports has been in existence. You are old enough now to know the repercussions of activities like this. You should know this, Shannon Sharp. You've seen it left, right, and center. You speak on things like this left, right, and center. You've seen many of your peers involved in activities like this with other women. So you should know the pitfalls, point blank and period, because you've been there, you've been around it, you've seen it. It ain't nothing new to you. So how did you become a victim of this stupidity? How did you let yourself become a victim of this stupidity? How did you allow yourself to be bamboozled in a scandal like this? Now it's going to cost you millions and millions of dollars. You should have just said, no, I'm not paying a dime, point blank and period. But see, you offered money. Now your money offering looks like a hush hush. If you did nothing wrong, or or not even that, you're trying to cover up what you did in the dark. I don't even say it's illegal activity. You are paying a young lady for sexual activities. To society, it may not look good, but is it illegal? Is it illegal to offer a woman monetary money for sexual favors? Is it illegal? Yes or no? That's the first issue. Is it illegal? Can I engage with you in a sexual activity and give you monetary funds after the act is done? Is that illegal? Now, if that's an illegal engagement or an illegal in, involvement, then that's a whole nother problem. If it's illegal, but if it's a illegal activity between two consenting adults, then why are you trying to hide it? If you like paying a woman who that's what she calls her profession, I'm an OnlyFan member. I'm an OnlyFan. You pay me a certain amount of money, I'll make your dreams and fantasies come true. That's what an OnlyFan does. She does things that a regular woman is not going to do. She engages in things and fantasies that average girls may or may not want to do. So she establishes a website to engage in men who want those extra activities that the normal woman ain't gonna do. All women are not gonna do oral sex. All men are not gonna do oral sex. All women are not gonna engage in anal sex, choking, beating. Not all men are gonna engage in that type of activities. So now you have these individuals who go out here and make a living by establishing a website that provides these type of activities and services. So you join one. It's a legal binding contract between you and that person. You're not doing something that the people before you have not done before. Okay, it's a kinky activity. You may not want your coworkers or your friends or your colleagues or family to know that you're into that type of activity. So you do it on the down low. You do it in the dark. But you can't come out here preaching and talking one thing and then behaving and doing another thing behind closed doors. That's where you look like a hypocrite. And that, to me, Shannon Sharp, you're the biggest hypocrite there is. You're a hypocrite of the highest order because you have judged others harshly for the same activity that you're now involved in. You have judged others harshly for the same activity and stupidity that you're now involved in yourself. Now you want to sit up here and talk about a shakedown, left, right, and center. No, goofy. You were stupid for giving and offering $10 million for the hush hush to keep your image looking pure. When in fact, you was into that kinky stuff too. But when your co-host told you what to do straight up for forth and coming, he didn't hide it. You try to shut it down as it being over the edge. But now it comes out, you're doing even stuff that he ain't even recommended. Now you talking about chaining and whooping and choking, trying to make your coworker look like he's uh, just off the deep end. But now the light has been shined on you. You just as worse as Ocho. You out here doing stupidity of the highest order. Yeah, the young lady was wrong for doing what she did. Just, now she wants more money. Now she thinks she's entitled to something that she's not. See, that's the point. That's what I try to tell women. Women today think they're entitled. just because they do this or they do that. They think they're entitled. That entitlement, stupidity of the highest order. And this is what society has created here in the United States. That's why I say our society creates stupidity. Our own society creates this nonsense. Nowhere else in society, but here in the United States, it's stupidity is perpetuated to this type of stuff. It's only here in the United States that we do this stupidity. That women can sit around here engaged in this and this and this, left, right, and center, and then talk about, oh, I was raped 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago, 6, 7 months ago. Oh, I was raped. I need $60 million. Which makes me ask the question that no one has answered. When did rape victims start taking monetary funds from their rapists, from their accusers? When did women start taking money from people who violently and sexually assault them? When did women start taking their money? When did women start trying to make a livelihood off of their perpetrator of the crime? If you were sexually raped, you're going to remember this for the rest of your life. Why would you need a rapist's money? Why would you want to sit around in a car that's paid for by the money from a person who raped you? You're already going to have that thought of being raped on your mind day in and day out. Why would you need to have the home that you stay in, the car that you drive, the clothes on your back come from the money of a person who sexually abused you, who sexually assaulted you? Why would you want to have that mindset? You already going to have the mental part on you. Why not? You're going to live your whole life with a monetary fund from a rapist. Who does that? What woman that was truly raped want to have a life of luxury from the person who raped them, who sexually assaulted them, who sexually abused them? Why you want to live now a lifestyle of luxury from that person? If I was a woman, I would want to be the farthest away from it. I want you so far buried under the jail that I don't even want you in existence. So why would I want to sit in a house, have clothes on me, a car that came from a rapist? I wouldn't want shit to do with you. But all these women left, right, and center talking about they was raped and they was allegedly attacked and they was assaulted. But now you want X amount of dollars. You want to live a life of luxury. But you were so brutally attacked, so brutally violated. But this is gonna ease your pain of living a life of luxury. Stupidity of the highest order. And see, men can't come out and say this because the men who on the news programs, on the talk shows, if they said something like that, what I'm saying now, they'll run people run and get them off the air. Only thing you can do with what I'm saying is make a negative comment. I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I don't. So help me explain. Why would you, woman who's being sexually raped, take money from a rapist? Make me understand why would you do that? Help me understand it. Because right now, I ain't understanding that stupidity. So if I'm wrong, put it in the comment section. Enlighten me. Maybe my mental capacity not up to par. Because me personally, I can't see somebody sexually assaulting me if I was a woman and I want to just live off your wealth. I'm already gonna have that in my mind. You forcibly took something from me. I wouldn't want shit from you. What I want, but I can't get. I probably want your life. So then make me understand Why are these women left, right, and center thinking monetary funds is going? If you were so sexually hurt, so sexually assaulted, how does monetary funds help ease that pain? Why would you constantly want a reminder of that situation following you the rest of your life? Because you're living in the house. The house ain't going on what you buy. You sitting in that car, going left, right, and center. But a person sexually assaulted you, but money's gonna heal your pain. Make that make sense. That's why I say this is bullshit of the highest order. And we perpetuate this nonsense here in this country. Because we're afraid of women groups, we're afraid of that group, we're afraid of that group. We're afraid to tell the truth in this country. And that's what's wrong with America right now. We want to cover up the truth. We want to give you bits and pieces of it because we're afraid it's going to hurt somebody. It's okay to tell a lie, but the truth, we got to handle like a baby. That's bullshit. The truth is the truth. And they say the truth does hurt. Well, hey, it hurts. Stop lying. I'm not going to say he wrong because he engaged in an activity of what that woman's profession is. And I'll ask again, what is a OnlyFan? Why would a woman establish such an entity? What is your purpose behind establishing a OnlyFans membership? What are you hoping to gain? What are you trying to grow? What are you trying to promote? Why is your services needed? Let's start with that question. Why is such activity being legalized here in the United States? Once again, because someone else is benefiting from this. You go on the website, you pay X amount of dollars, whatever state, city you live in, they get X amount of dollars from that entity for tax purposes. And then 2 months later, you holler, I was raped. That's what my channel is for. I do things that women don't want to do. You pay me X amount of dollars, I perform X amount of services based on what you pay. But the minute I perform a service and you don't want to pay me, you rape me. Now it's rape. See, why I won't call him wrong is because she established the page. Doesn't matter if society allowed this activity to go on. Society allowed this type of setup to be conducted. Society say, hey, you want to do this? Hey, you have to be X amount of years old. This is what you can do. This is what you can't do. So these women go out here and establish these contents. They do things that they're not supposed to do behind the scenes. And then things don't go their way. They holler and rape. Oh, you raped me. See, he was wrong for offering the $10 million. You need to fire your lawyer. You tried to pay $10 million to keep your image clean. No, it wasn't hush money. It was you was trying to pay $10 million to keep your image clean. Your image already tarnished, brother. You're a victim of what you do in the dark comes out in the light. And the light not shines on your bullshit. The light shines on what type of person you really are. I mean, you like kinky sex. You like kinky sex. It's point blank and period. It is what it is. Accept it. You like having rough sex, rough intercourse. Okay, you like having rough sex. If that appeals to your flavor, then that's what it is. but you offer $10 million to try to keep your image clean. See, people think you're guilty because you try to shut her up. No, you didn't try to shut her up. You tried to keep your image clean by offering her $10 million. See, I'm looking at it from another angle, folks. This is not a mission of guilt. This is a mission of trying to keep an image clean. He wasn't trying to shut her up. He was trying to keep his image clean. There's a difference. You don't know how many women she didn't talk to and told what they did, left, right, and center. You don't know how many other women that are in the same circle as her that they have had a conversation about what they're doing back and forth, left, right, and center. You don't know how many other women she has told about her activities with Shannon Sharp. So this wasn't about trying to hush anything. This was about trying to protect the image. See, you're working for Disney Channel, but you got to kind of keep a squeaky image. Sex is what it is. It's sex. It's a natural environment between a man and a woman. I don't know why we try to make it so dirty here in the United States. Like, ooh, ah. Sexual activity is performed all over the world by every man and woman. Point blank and period. Let's stop with this foolishness. Oh God, no, we can't do that. I can't be known to be doing that type of activity. What you think swingers are? Sexual activity of consensual consent by a bunch of men and women to engage in activities with other partners. It's illegal. It's not illegal. It's legal. You can do it. If three men and three women want to go to a hotel room and everybody engage in activity with one another, with different partners, you sleep with my woman, I sleep with yours, and we walk out, everybody happy, who cares? And men, I want y'all to look at that. How many times y'all been with a woman and they say stop and you stop and they ask you why you stop? I've been a part of that many times. Woman tell me stop, I stop, and then she turn around and ask me why I stop. I said, well, why you say you stop? Tell me to stop doing. What you stopping for? Didn't you just say stop? I didn't mean it. Well, don't say it then. How do I supposed to know what you mean? You said no. You said stop. I stop. Now you asking me why I stop. See, stupidity of the highest order. I don't believe this was a rape. I don't believe he paid her was offering her $10 million to shut her up. He was offering $10 million to keep his image clean, not to shut her up. Because, like I said, you don't know how many women she'd have told what activity they have done, left, right, and center. We don't know. You don't know who else she has told. Hey, I'm with Shannon Sharp. I'm with this NFL player. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Left, right, center. You don't know how many other women knows what kind of activity those two have been conducting. We don't know. It's because he was working for ESPN. It's because Disney owns the platform. We don't even know what the people that own Disney, what kind of activity they involved in. Who say they all sweet and clean? But because Disney represents kids, represents family, you got to keep it PG. Your activities have to be of a moral high standard. You spoke about other people's downfall. You should have paid attention to your own downfall. You brought this on yourself, my brother. People talking about you, and then media calling it a relationship. I don't call it a relationship. When money's being paid, it is not a relationship, folks. That's first and foremost. I'm tired of news reporters, commentators talking about a relationship. This was not a relationship, all right? Let's get that straight and foremost. This is not a relationship. Shannon Sharp never called it a relationship. The girl never called it a relationship. It's the media calling it a relationship. This relationship going on for 7 months. No, it's not a relationship. It is a business transaction between two individuals. Trust and believe me, money was involved from start to finish. She wasn't doing it just for her health. He was trying to keep it on the download that he out here paying for activities because that's what it was. It is a money transaction from start to finish, point blank and period. And that's the image he was trying to clean up. Because people out here, nigga, you out here paying for pussy. That's what it is. You a professional athlete. Why you out here paying for coochie? That's the image he was trying to keep clean. That's what he was trying to keep secret. He was trying to keep clean that he was paying for pussy. I'm gonna keep it point blank and period. Let's stop with all the foolishness. That's why my show is called Stop the Capping. He was trying to keep covered up that he was paying for pussy. How you gonna be a professional athlete, a Golden Glove holder, a gold jacket winner, a Hall of Famer, and you out here paying for pussy? What that look like? How your image looking? That's what he was trying to cover up, and people don't see that. I see it. Why y'all can't see it? This wasn't no relationship. This was all about money, folks. Point blank and period. He didn't just meet her walking the streets. He didn't meet her at the gym. If he did meet her and they got in a conversation, he started asking what she do. I guarantee she told him she has an only page. I have an only page. Oh yeah, I'm in social media. What do you do? I'm Shannon Sharp. I have Shannon Sharp podcast. I have the Shay Shay podcast. Oh, I have a podcast too. What's your podcast? Blah 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 blah. I'm an OnlyFans. Blah 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 blah. I don't care if you met her off the street, in a bar, in a club. I guarantee you, at the end of the day, they both talked about their professions. And she talked about having a OnlyFans. So I asked again, what is OnlyFans? What is the purpose of a OnlyFans? The purpose is to do activity, to engage in activities for monetary funds. The woman ain't doing it for free. She ain't doing it because she loves being on the internet. She does it for a purpose and a reason. And it starts with monetary funds and ends with monetary funds. She expects to be paid for services rendered. Point blank and period. This ain't no relationship. It can turn into one, true. But at the beginning of the day, it started with a contract. It started with favors, point blank and period. Whether it was gifts, monetary funds, combination of both, but something was given and something was received. It did not start with love. It wasn't built on love. It's built on activities and conduct between two persons with monetary funds to be paid for such activities. Once again, like I said, what's the difference between prostitution, a call girl, and a hooker, and an OnlyFans member? What's the difference? Same activities, same monetary funds exchanging hands, same sexual activities being conducted by all parties involved. Now you out here trying to keep your image clean and you offer 10 million. So I'm gonna say this to you, Shannon Sharp. How many people, how many homeless people Have you drove by when you was living in California, left, right, and center? Did you go offer them $1? How many homeless people did you drive past and seen on the street? Did you give them $1? Did you give them $5? Did you even buy them a meal? Or did you look at that mofo and say, go get a job? But you're going to give a girl $10 million to keep your image clean. You deserve exactly what you're getting, stupid. You're stupid. You're sitting around here on your podcast, on your shows, on analysts, downgrading, putting other people's business out what they should have did left, right, and center. Because that's what you do, Shannon Shot. You quick to point out other people's mistakes and error. You very quick to point other people's mistakes of what they should have did, what they shouldn't do. They should know better, left, right, and center. You quick to point your fingers at other people's mistakes. And I noticed that about your shows, whether you on ESPN or your podcast or your talk show. You are quick to point the fingers at other people's mistakes and saying they should know right from wrong. Quick to point what other people should be doing right and wrong. Now, when the spotlight is turned on you, now you're talking about it's a shakedown. Why you offer $10 million to try to keep an image that's not an image? You're fake. You're a hypocrite. Okay, you like choking women. You like having anal sex. That's your own personal business. But don't try to act like you a child, the true child of God, and you without sin. See, you try to portray images like you holier than thou, and you wasn't. We have all fallen short of the glory of God, including yourself. You've been perpetrating, but like I said, you're so quick to point your fingers at other people's downfalls and mistakes, and now the light is shined on you. Now look at you. You're looking like a goofy. See, you're talking about 26 and 30 on your podcast and make it sound good, but in fact, you like I'm young. Hey, it is what it is. So no, do I believe it's a rape? No, it's not a rape. I believe it's a bitter young lady who thinks she's entitled to more than what she was getting. Now she's going by getting that by any means necessary. At the end of the day, these Caucasian women are not with you guys because they love your big dick. These women are not flaunting themselves on all you athletes because they're just madly in love with you. No. Trust me, if your ass was broke, they wouldn't be with you. And you guys need to wake up. Long as the money's good, long as the fame is good, long as they live in their lifestyle the way they want and imagine and dream of, they're with you. As soon as things go astray, they'll leave your black ass. It is what it is. And it doesn't matter the race of the woman. It does not really matter the race of the woman. When they leave, they leave. Point blank and period. Let's just face the facts. You got yourself caught in some shenanigans. You talked about other people's shenanigans or what they should have did, not did. And now you're a victim of your own misfortunes, your own foolishness. Now the light's been shined on you. Now you look stupid because you're always talking about what other people should have did, what other people should have known not to do, what other people should have behaved and acted like. You talk about that all the time. Left, right, and center. You always spotlighting the stupidity of other people, what they should and should not have been doing. what was right, what was wrong. You quick to judge other people's, but now you want people to understand your situation. You want people to understand, hey, this is a shakedown. You shouldn't have offered the money. Your attorney, if he was my attorney, I'd fire. First of all, he brought me some foolishness like that. I should pay her. I would fire him first and foremost. Because for you to tell me to pay some hush money or some image money, you ain't my attorney. I don't need that type of advice. That looks suspicious right off the bat. Pay her. You got your freaking mind. I'm just gonna give a young lady $10 million just because we was having sexual activities, and she mad because one day she said she supposedly or allegedly said no, but I kept going, or I didn't stop. Allegedly. But you talked on your podcast about no means no, left, right, and center. How about that? People like to give advice but don't like to follow their own advice. Does that make sense? People come on these podcasts left, right, and center, telling people how to live their lives. Don't do this, don't do that. You should do this, you should do that. But turn around and do the same thing that they give advice on. How does that make sense? Can anybody tell me that? Please put your comments in the comment section. How do people get on these podcasts, men and women both, giving advice to other people how they live their lives, left, right, and center, but always getting caught up in some foolishness of their own? Why do people give advice but don't follow their own advice? People are so quick to judge and give advice on the internet, but don't follow their own advice. That's stupidity of the highest order. Who does that? That's what's wrong with our society. We love running our mouth. We love accusing other people. We love judging each other, and we judge each other harshly until the light gets shined on us. Now we want forgiveness. Now we want understanding. But when the light is on another person, how quick and harsh we are to judge. But once that light is on us, oh God, now I need forgiveness. I need understanding. Fool, shut up. That's foolishness of the highest order. It's foolishness. You reap what you sow, young man. You reap what you sow. I don't believe this was rape. I don't believe he should have offered that young lady $10 million to try to keep her image clean. It is what it is. You like doing that type of activity. That's what you are. That's your makeup. So accept it. Embrace it. Eh, stand on your 10 toes. If that's what you're into, that's what you're into. Stand on it. But you couldn't stand on it because of the simple fact you had to keep an image clean for Disney. Well, if you want to work in that type of environment, then you know certain activities you need to have stopped. And you should have been stopping. You should have saw the bigger picture. Pussy over image. See? It gets black men all the time. Pussy over image. And this time pussy won. You fell victim to the pussy. You fell victim to your cravings. You fell victim to your subliminal mindset of doing this and this and that. You felt the victim of it. Instead of keeping your image clean that you had before, instead of standing on principles, instead of standing on advice that you gave to others, you didn't even follow your own advice. And that's what gets me. You out here telling other athletes how to conduct and live their lives, and you didn't do the same for yourself. Now look at you. You're looking like boo boo. Talking about it's a shakedown. I will be vindicated. No, you ain't gonna never be vindicated. You may not have to pay. She may not win the money. It's not a rape. I can see that left, right, and center. She basically figured I can go get an attorney. It's your word against mine. Hey, I got evidence. Why you take this evidence to the police day one? That's my whole point. If you have such evidence, and then second of all, who goes around having conversation and taping people? Why are you taping conversations? Why? Why is this woman taping conversations? Why did she feel the need to tape this conversation? Now you can say, oh, because she was raping this evidence. No, because she had a plan in place. She had a plan in place already. This was a planned and calculated move. Yeah, it's a setup, planned and orchestrated. Like I said, these young women out here are not stupid. They're not like women of old. They're not sleeping with you they're not sleeping with you men for the love of your dick. Stop it. It's foolishness. Most of the women can care less. It is about the money, guys. They'll smile in your face and go sleep with a woman the next day. It's not about you. Trust and believe me, it is not about you. Do not be fooled by these females out here thinking left, right, and center they want to be with you because you're big dick. Brother, cut the foolishness out. You better protect your investments. You better start strapping up. You better stop dealing with multiple women because it's gonna bring you down. It's gonna bring you down. I don't feel sorry for him because he has been on his podcast, on his talk shows, and blah blah on the news program, telling other people left, right, and center what they should not be doing, so he knows better. So I do not feel sorry for him. He's a victim of his own foolishness and stupidity. That's what it is. Foolishness and stupidity. And he brought it on himself because he didn't follow the advice that he gave others before him. He's talked about others, left, right, and center. Go look at all the podcasts and scenarios that he has been involved with. He's always quick to judge people. He's always quick to tell people, yeah, left, right, and center. You shouldn't have did this. You shouldn't have did that. You know better than that. You know better than that. You shouldn't have did this. No, it means this. Everything that he's telling you not to do, that means he knows. If you're giving advice, just like I'm giving you advice not to do this, not to do that, you shouldn't do this, do that, that means I should know myself. Then that means I shouldn't be involved in no shenanigans like this, right? How would it look like me having a podcast talking about stop the capping, but I'm out here lying left, right, and center, but I'm telling somebody else, don't be lying. You see? See how that foolishness works? You lying left, right, and center, but you telling somebody else, don't tell lies. And we all liars. That's the point. Everybody has told a lie. I try to tell my son that everybody has told a lie once or twice in their life. Whether it be big, little, important, serious, everyone has told at least one lie in their life. Let's keep it 100. Thank you for this episode of Stop the Capping. I hope you enjoyed the content. I hope it opens up your mindset to think about some things. It's unfortunate. It's a world that we live in now. Everything is money, money, money. By all means necessary, be it deceitfulness, lying, conniving, and only God knows the truth. and then no two people involved. Gentlemen, stop making foolish mistakes with your lives. Pay attention to what's going on. Ladies, stop engaging in yourself in activities like this for monetary funds. It does not end well with you. With that being said, you be blessed. Take care. This is another edition. I'm your host, Ahmad, and this is Stop the Capping. Goodbye.